CM Punk returns to a wrestling ring this weekend. This Sunday, for the first time in 7 years, we're going to see CM Punk back in a wrestling ring, and I cannot wait to talk about it here. And you can imagine it's going to be the main event topic as we go through AEW All Out 2021 match card and predictions. Going to be joined by Mekz from WrestleManiac UK very, very shortly. But before we can discuss things and go through the predictions, you guys need to know the matches, don't you? So without further ado, here's the match card. So I think we can all agree it's an absolutely stacked card for AEW All Out this Sunday, September 5th on pay-per-view. But of course, if I'm going to go through the predictions, I need someone to join me with it. I've got none other than the best. Mekz from WrestleManiac UK is in the house. Mekz, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Very well. You know, we work together so much these days that I semi-forgot. I won't even lie. I semi-forgot. What are we doing today? And then you reminded me, AEW All Out. And I'm very much looking forward to this one because this has just become the go-to show, like in terms of just on a weekly basis of programming. And this particular card, because of all the names associated that are coming in, you know, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, we've been looking forward to All Out for months now. So yeah, very happy to be here. Very happy to go through this with you.
Well, it's great to have you back on the channel once again. And yeah, like you say, AEW right now just seems to be the show that seems to get everybody talking, excited, buzzing. You know, it's going to be, you know, we don't have to talk about the other show today, which is kind of cool, like, you know, because sometimes it's a bit more of a negative vibe. But I mean, we're going to shoot this card. We're going to say exactly what we feel. We're probably going to shoot harder than a Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax wrestling match. But I mean, that's probably the one WWE reference I'll probably make on this video. But just before we start, we've got WrestleTron in the house. Says hello, Steve. And he also says hello, Mekz, as well. And just say as well, to make sure to subscribe to Mekz as well from WrestleManiac UK. Also, his link to his channel is in the description, so make sure to do that. He talks all things WWE, AEW, and much, much more. So definitely, if you're not subscribed to Mekz, why aren't you already? Make sure to go and do so. But without further ado, though, we are going to go straight into it. And just before we do, you said that we're quite excited for this. I'm guessing CM Punk probably is the match you're most looking forward to.
I'm not too sure. There's a couple matches I'm looking forward to. I wouldn't say there's a standout. I think the CM Punk Darby Allin is for the spectacle of the big return, like you said in your intro. 7 years without any action in the wrestling ring, and we're going to see it. I do think it'll be a really fun match, but from a wrestling point of view, I'm not quite sure it's the one I'm most looking forward to, but definitely from a spectacle point of view.
Absolutely. Which one do you think will be then from a wrestling point of view?
Pac versus Andrade. Definitely looking forward to. Big fan of Pac and Andrade. It hasn't quite gone to plan as you would think so far in AEW, but this may be, you know, the one that turns the screw. And then, of course, the cage match, Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, that these guys just know each other like the back of their hands. Put them in a cage, I think is absolutely ludicrous, but we're gonna get a brilliant match out of it. So yeah, very much looking forward to those matches.
Absolutely. I must admit, definitely those two matches are stand out for me as well as Kenny Omega and Christian Cage. Even though we've already seen that match on Rampage a few weeks ago, I still have a lot of excitement for that match as well. So there's plenty that we're looking forward to talking about. But like every good pay-per-view, and just before we get into that first match on the pay-per-view, we do have Christopher in house as well, saying hi to us, and he's from Ohio. Happy Tuesday. Hope you both enjoy your day with family and friends, and we wish the same for you as well, Chris. It's good to have you on board. But like I say, with every good pay-per-view and every good show, we need a buy-in. That's what it's all about with AEW. So without further ado, let's talk about the buy-in match that we've got. There's a lot to discuss here. It's the Casino Battle Royale. A winner receives a shot at AEW's Women's World Championship. We see the Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Red Velvet, Ty Conti, Penelope Ford, and Diamante all been announced for the match so far. I'm guessing there's going to be a whole host of names that's going to be added to this. Obviously, 21 competitors in there. I imagine the likes of Kiera Hogan probably will be added to this match as well. You know, perhaps some of the people we see on Dark and Elevation. And I'm sure there'll be a surprise at the end with the Joker card as well, as we're used to a surprise in these matches. So to kind of dissect this really, I mean, a battle royale, it can go any way. We've got no idea who's going to be entering the ring at whichever time. For the rules of it, you're thrown over the top rope, both feet must hit the floor. That's how you are eliminated from the match. But one bit of small detail before we go into the juicy Joker card here. Actually, I've got two questions. Actually, first off, why is Hikaru Shida not on this lineup?
Maybe she's just not on the graphic. They have totally forgotten about Shida in the last 2-3 months, ever since she dropped the belt to Britt Baker. So yeah, I hope she is just not on the graphic, but she's very much going to be in that match. One of the better talents that they have on AEW.
Absolutely, yeah, she's an absolute star, and yeah, I would love to see her on the show. I think that she would be good to be in and around the latter stages of the match. Maybe put that newer talent over that maybe would win the match to get the shot. It really solidifies beating Shida. But one other little note that I really enjoyed, and this was more due to Rampage and Dynamite. We've seen a bit of build in the last week or so. Obviously, if you've got a battle royale and there's a lot of single competitors, what a better thing than to make an ally, make a friend. The Bunny has gone out to do that. She tried that with Ty Conti. Didn't work successfully. They had a match on Rampage this past Friday. And of course, then we learned that the Bunny is going to be associated with Penelope Ford going into this. Do you like the idea of this duo? And do you think that this will work well into the story of the match?
Conti and the Bunny together.
Yes, and also with Penelope Ford. Of course, we've got Ford and we've got Bunny that are going to work together, at least for a portion.
I think, yeah, it's literally just for a portion. I think Penelope probably will be the snake here and kind of turn on her sort of thing. It's literally just a quick alliance, and I don't think there's going to be much more in this.
No, absolutely not. Well, I tell you, before we go into predictions itself, then obviously we're talking about the Joker card here. There's been a lot of speculation of who that person can be. There's so many talents that are available in the free agent wrestling market, but it seems to be one that's going to be a favorite. But Mekz, I'd like to get your say on who you think that magic number 21 could be.
So yeah, I think for quite a few weeks I was telling myself, Ruby Soho, that's probably a lot of people's choices, and Mercedes Martinez. My head was turned recently. Someone told me Deonna Purrazzo, and I said that is a great shout because she is on fire right now. She is, good friends with Britt Baker. She's been calling for the Britt Baker match. She's been calling to go through the Forbidden Door. This could be the best opportunity to send her through that door, and if she does go on to win, we can get like a champion versus champion match against Deonna and Britt Baker, which I would assume Britt would win, but I don't think that's Deonna. Deonna doesn't care who would win. She just wants to go through the Forbidden Door. That's what she's been going on about. So I think this could be a good opportunity to see her. But yeah, it depends if this is going to be like a long-term signing, or if it's a long-term signing, I guess we're looking at Mercedes Martinez or Ruby Soho, either or, which I think would be great additions to the AEW women's division. But Deonna Purrazzo, I think this would be a very good reward for everything she's done in recent months. Just carry this Impact Championship like a champion. She's went over to AAA, won the women's championship over there as well. So I'm rooting for it to be Purrazzo.
I mean, she's become the belt collector in pro wrestling right now, along with Kenny Omega. I mean, Kenny actually posted, but something's not right here. Someone else trying to do my shtick. I mean, Deonna Purrazzo, like you say, she's just come off as well from NWA this past weekend, successfully defeating Melina. Fantastic in Power show as well. When it's not gone and seen it, I recommend it highly. But no, like you say, Deonna Purrazzo would be awesome. She's even said previously on Impact when they did about this Christian Cage and Kenny Omega, she said, I don't even care who the result would be. I only care if Tony Khan picks up the phone and wants me to be going through the Forbidden Door. It's the only thing she cares about. So I like that idea there. I think it would be awesome if it was to take place. I am going to stick out my neck and say Ruby Soho, but like you said, there is many potentials. Mercedes Martinez, Cassie Lee as well, with Jessica McKay could be a potential. They have said that they are looking to make a return in some format, so I guess they wouldn't turn up together. Would that be interesting as the number 21?
And that's another thing. Yeah. I think those are the only two people that could ever take one spot and go in there together because of just their chemistry together. They're literally a double act. Obviously, we saw in recent months that, it was actually Peyton Royce, Cassie's idea to split the two on WWE. Didn't really work out for her. So yeah, I think these two stick together. They go through together. They become number 21 together. They get eliminated together. It's their story. I think it'll be brilliant. It'll be really, really fun if it was them.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Well, I'll stick my neck out and say Ruby Soho as the final shout for it. But I would love to see, even if they came together in the middle of the match, I think it'd be quite cool, because 21, I'm having trouble thinking of 21 women amongst the AEW roster. But I mean, like you said, there's plenty of opportunities to bring people in. So it could be fun and interesting to see how it's going to play out. But it comes to the magic part here, Mekz. I'm going to push you and ask, who is winning this and receiving a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship?
I think if Peraza is the person, then she wins. Other than that, I do think it may be a tad early, but I think Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
She may lose in the first instance to Britt Baker, but then that could kind of reignite their feud, and they can go on to do something else. Just before you kind of give us your prediction, I'm becoming a bit sick of these casino battle royales, or whatever they call them, just being a bit inconsequential. In the last few ones they've done, the winner hasn't gone on to win the title, no matter what the title's been, the TNT or the AEW World Championship. And then it's literally been like a one and done. No feud has kind of started off the back of it or anything. So I think, especially with this women's one now, they've got a good opportunity to make something happen, make something stick. Britt Baker's won the title. She's had a couple defenses here and there. She's facing Statlander on the night, which we'll talk about. But I think these are just people to just rack up wins. She needs to get back into a story, be telling that story, because even Britt Baker, I think that's when she's at her best. But yeah, I'll go with Peraza if Peraza enters. Other than that, I'll go with Thunder Rosa.
I think you made some awesome points there. Honestly, I didn't even think of some of the things you were saying there beforehand, but now that you say it, you talk about the likes of Jungle Boy, Lance Archer. I think even, all these sort of more modern ones.
Sky.
Yeah, what happened with them? They didn't win championships. And like you say, why should I care? Why should I be invested? And it becomes to a point, well, there's a reason then why this is on the buy-in, because maybe people wouldn't care about it as much. But I like you, hope that it leads to something. But I suppose that asks one further question there. Is it too early for Britt Baker to lose the championship to whoever wins this Battle Royale?
Yeah, it is too early. And that's why I think even if it's Thunder Rosa, it could be a case of, well, she's got, her and Thunder Rosa have been going back and forward. And she can beat Thunder Rosa because Thunder Rosa beat her last time in that, unsanctioned match they had. And it's like Thunder Rosa's knocked down, has to build her way back up. Thunder Rosa's a member of the AEW roster now. She's not, NWA visiting AEW anymore. Yeah. So they can really, put the engine behind Thunder Rosa. We haven't seen her on TV doing anything significant in a bit. So yeah, that's my pick. But other than that, if they give it to someone like, I don't want to sound disrespectful by shouting out a name, but if it's someone like Tay Conti, it is just going to be a one and done, and Britt will retain. So yeah, I want something a bit, substantial.
That's fair enough. I mean, Tay Conti was actually my backup pick, because I do feel that she's improving so much in the ring, and I'd like to see her get the opportunity once again to be in and around the champion. I think she had a great match with Hikaru Shida earlier, but like you say there, if she was to win it, I don't believe that she would win the championship. And for that reason, not to sound like a copycat, but I actually have gone for Thunder Rosa as well to win this match, because I think that she would be... She's the most likely, I think, that could take the title from Britt Baker. She seemed like the most dangerous threat. Like you said, there's a story waiting as well. So, yeah, I mean, for me, like you say, now she's a part of the full-time AEW roster. This makes a lot of sense. So, for me, I will go for Thunder Rosa, but as a backup, I will go for Tay Conti. But I do think the runner-up will be Ruby Soho. I think it will come down to Rosa and Soho as the final two, should that be the way that it plays out. Because, like we say, anything could literally happen on this buy-in. But is there anything you'd like to add before we go to the comments?
No, I just like I say, I just want the winner of it, even if they don't win the championship match, let them stick around in the picture, let them really actually use this to catapult something, because it's a shame if these just become a bit, redundant, because the matches that we get from them are actually quite fun and exciting to start off a show. So yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe the winner should get the championship match of Full Gear. It gives time to build it up rather than actually just a throwaway. I mean, you don't say Dynamites are not throwaway these days. You can't miss them. But at the same time, though, to know that it's going to be 3 months before they get their opportunity, or November it is, so it's 2 months this time. It's a good way to actually use it. So yeah, it could be quite interesting. But anyway, let's go to the comment section because we've got quite a few comments that come flying in. And WrestleTron says that most looking forward to Pac Andrade, Jericho versus MJF are the ones that he's most looking forward to, and great matches as well. We'll be discussing both throughout the stream. And Kris also goes to say that you guys are right. I think Yana Orubisola will be the Joker. And WrestleTron then goes on to say that it thinks Ty Conti will win this Casino Battle Royale. Ruby cannot take a loss against Britt so soon. That's an interesting point potentially there, because the idea, if it was to be, a newcomer coming in, going straight for the championship. We've seen it with the likes of Vance Archer previously. They come in, and Brian Cage as well. Don't always get the momentum back, do they?
No, and those ones hurt me. Like, to be honest, Brian Cage, I wasn't too invested in because Moxley had just become champion. But Lance Archer, I really think he should have won, his one and kicked on from there. So yeah, again, we just want to make these kind of mean something. But I do agree with this comment. Ruby can't afford to come in and take a loss. Tay Conti, she can, and Diano again, she can, because she's not part of the company per se. So yeah, there's some good shouts out there.
Absolutely, indeed. And it's actually a funny comment you make there as well, because you say with AEW, not taking losses against other companies. You look at Empower; they only, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, apart from the final of the women's tag team tournament that went on, and apart from the actual NWA Women's Championship match, every other match they partaked in, they won. So Tony Khan likes to have a bit of say of the booking, what's going on. Kenny Omega in Mexico as well. So like you say, this, if it was champion versus champion, I'm sure that Tony Khan would make sure that AEW would look strong. So that's certainly a possibility. And Kris also goes to say that Thunder Rosa wins and the Joker is the runner-up. So that's interesting indeed there. And yeah, so that's the thoughts of the comments, and that's the thoughts of us there on that. Maybe we should go into the main card. What do you reckon, Mekz?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Well, I tell you what, it's one match that a lot of people are looking forward to, and I couldn't wait to start off with it. So here we go. Pac versus Andrade El Idolo with Chavo Guerrero Jr. in his corner. I think this is the perfect match to open up this card, because these two are going to be fantastic performers. In ring, it's going to be fantastic. There's a great story behind it as well. What's going to go on with the Lucha Bros? I mean, are they going to stay with Pac always with Death Triangle as it should be? Or will there be where, they go and turn on Pac? It would be a good opportunity with a match later in the night. Or is it a situation where they want to help Pac, and by accident, then costing Pac, because then that adds a new dynamic of the story altogether. So there's lots of different twists and turns. And let's not forget, straight up 1-on-1, these two very, very talented performers. I can't wait to see how it's going to go down. Mekz, I need to know your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, like I said at the top of this, I'm looking forward to this from just a wrestling point of view, because these guys can go. Like, these guys are up there as some of the best actual in-ring performers in the world. Andrade hasn't set the world alight since he's come over. I feel like I'm making a lot of excuses for him that, he's getting rid of his WWE style and he's adapting this, that, and the other. But he needs to deliver. There is no long and short about it. He needs to deliver, because that AEW locker room is stacked. Like, he could be replaced easily. So yeah, he needs to really bring a top performance here, and for that reason, I think that he's going to get a win here. And I'm honestly hoping that the match is what we all deserve out of this.
I agree with you. I think that, some people have said there's been lackluster in places. I think the mixture of who is going to be with Andrade has been a little bit confusing in places for people. Obviously, it was Vicky Guerrero at first. Now it's Chavo Guerrero. I like Chavo's in this spot. I understand, though, perhaps some may find that this is still not the strongest dynamic, because Chavo was never really seen as a main eventer in his wrestling heyday. But I still think he could play the part rather well as this manager role. What's your thoughts with Chavo?
I'm so happy when I saw Chavo, because when he was tied with Vicky, and I made a video about this, and with all due respect, Vicky just doesn't match the aesthetic that Andrade gives off. Like, he's a young man and all of that, the kind of the richness and stuff. And Vicky just looks like his mom or his auntie or something like that next to him. You see what I mean? So when they brought in Chavo, and of course we were all at the time calling for Zelina Vega or Selena De La Renta to be the manager, someone again that fits that aesthetic. But when they brought in Chavo, I thought it's a good move. It's a man that, he's got obviously the history of the business. We know who, his family are. It's tied to Vicky, so it makes sense as he's like the proxy, I guess. And, he somewhat fits the mold. He could speak English, do the translate a bit as well. So, I'm not too sad about it. Some people still aren't happy with it. They're not, into Chavo sort of thing. Never have been. Like you said, he was never a main eventer, never a top guy like that. But I think it's way better than Vicky Guerrero. But yeah, all of this stuff we're talking about is really and truly, we're talking about it because Andrade hasn't delivered yet. We shouldn't be talking about this. It doesn't really matter. If he delivers in the ring, we don't talk about this kind of stuff. So we need the big performance this weekend.
Like you say, it's a big performance. It's an important performance as well. And I mean, hopefully it's more takeover than obviously like a random Raw SmackDown performance we're going to get here. Obviously, if you look back at the lights when he faced like Johnny Gargano, Drew McIntyre with some fantastic performances in those sort of matches with those NXT days. Now we're here in AEW. Pac, it seems like the perfect opponent here to put on a stellar 5-star classic match here. So yeah, hopefully it's going to deliver the goods here. But one last question just before we go into the prediction itself. I just want to ask, will we see, because we're expecting surprises. That's one thing. Andrew Zarian has said that we expect many surprises this Sunday at All Out. What about the idea that Ric Flair could maybe show up at this show? Would this be the right appropriate place? We mentioned perhaps Vicky looking more like a sort of a mother figure or an auntie here. Would Ric Flair kind of have the similar vibe, or would you still feel that he's styling and profiling if Ric Flair's strutting down ringside with him?
It's literally the styling and profiling that's saving him from me saying he's the grandfather. But of course, we know he's his family relation, his family business. Ric Flair sort of not coming out with Andrade, but maybe doing something in the match to cause Park to lose could be interesting. But at the same time, I just think these guys just need to be allowed to do what they do best without interference. Clean win for whomsoever, and we get to the end point. I'm not sure. I'm generally not sure I need to see Ric Flair in AEW doing anything.
Fair. That's totally fair. Well, prediction-wise, I think I've got a good idea which way you're going to go, but how we're going to book it, like you said, you would prefer it kept clean. Are the Lucha Bros concentrating on their match, not involved in this at all?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not really AEW style to do anything like dusty finishes or anything like that. We saw it in Rampage for the Christian Omega match, and even then I was like, oh wow, they did something like that. They don't usually do anything like that. But I want it to be a straight up match. However, if there is interference that leads to a story and makes sense, then I'm here for it as well. But I'm gonna go with Andrade. I think he needs the big win, and it'll be very interesting to see if he doesn't win, where his character kind of goes from there.
Yeah, very true. I think it's a must win for Andrade El Idolo, and I think he's going to get it. So, whether there's interference or not, I think keep an eye out. The Lucha Bros, it could be something that could lead to later in the evening. We'll have to wait and see. I think there could be a small bit of shenanigans. Like you say, it's not really AEW style, but then perhaps when they bring it out the bag, maybe it means more. So that's where I'm going to say it's something to keep an eye out for. But definitely, without question, Andrade El Idolo will pick up the victory. And let's go to the comments, because guess what, Mekz? They flooded in. Literally, we've got quite a few of them to go through. So we've got Best in the World 1989 says, good evening, guys. Casino battle predictions will be Diana, Ruby, or Tessa, or Mercedes. The top four right there. Some good choices indeed there. And also goes on to say as well that Pac versus Andrade could be match of the year, even better than Volta versus Dragunov at TakeOver. Well, if we get even half as good as that, I think that we'll both be very happy boys.
Exactly.
WrestleTron, I want Lucha Bros to stay with Pac. We've never seen Death Triangle in full effect. I feel that Rouge and Dragon Lee are going to join Andrade. I'm sure El Idolo is going to win this. So great prediction there. Dragon Lee and Rouge, of course, currently part of Ring of Honor. But of course, who knows? The forbidden door opens in many magical ways. Could Ring of Honor come part of this? And I mean, this is something Andrade wants. This would be an awesome looking stable, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Who was it? I think one of my group chats, someone mentioned Rouge and Dragon Lee joining up with Andrade. That could be very, very, very fun. But I think if they did something like that, and then obviously Death Triangle stay together, where are these trios titles you've been promising?
Yeah.
Like, you need to deliver on something at that point. But that could be great.
That would be absolutely awesome. I think that, like you say, we would need a bit of full gear going on at that point with those tag team titles. They need to come in from that point. Matthew Pace says Punk versus Darby Allin needs to main event. Well, it's going to be a main event of our video today, so make sure to stick around for that. We're going to be discussing that later on. And also, Best in the World 1989. Bryan Danielson to debut after the Omega versus Christian Cage match. And Bryan Omega stare down to close out All Out. Before it happens, got the countdown clock right. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll be talking about that more in detail later later on. We will keep things match by match for now. It's otherwise we will lose the flow of where we're going. And, obviously we want to make sure it's real because Mekz has got a podcast himself starting in 1 hour's time. So a bit cautious on the time period here. We don't want to miss out on his own channel. That would be a bit bad to see. But Matthew Pace says that if it's going to be one of the best AEW shows so far, do agree. Wrestletron says that he's happy with Chavo Guerrero, as are we. It's good to see that you're happy with him as well. Christopher goes on to say that Pac and Andrade is going to steal the show, but overall Andrade is going to win since his first pay-per-view match. And of course, that is a very interesting point there. It's you can't ignore that. Andrade on pay-per-view first time, he should go out with a victory. I do agree. Best in the World 1989, old Chavo. I'm assuming that's a positive there. I'm assuming
that's his entrance music. Oh, Chavo.
There you go. We go. I must admit, I'd forgotten those. It's been so long since I've seen him in WWE. I've even seen him Lucha Underground between then and now. It's crazy. Matthew Pace, Ric Flair showing up. Doesn't make much sense now that Chavo is Andrade's manager. I think it's a fair point to make there. And as well, we've got a couple more from Best in the World 1989 here. It says that Pac and Lucha Bros against those guys in a trios match. That's exactly what he wants to see. And I tell you what, we do hope to see it as well. One more here very quickly. Bryan Danielson comes in, opens up the foot door for just 2 matches outside of AEW. Here's our Jonathan Gresham for the Pure Championship. I agree with that. Would love to see it. And Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom. And of course, yes, Bryan Danielson does want that. Mekz wants that by the sounds of it. I want that as well. It's a popular choice. But I tell you what, we've been talking so much in detail about Andrade versus Pac. We mentioned about the idea of the Lucha Bros. So without further ado, you know where we're going next. And that's right. We're talking about the steel cage match. That's right. The AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks defending against the Lucha Bros. And usually this match would stop these sort of guys from being able to do what they want to do because they like to do high-fly moves going outside, all around the way. They're going to be trapped inside the ring here with a cage. Somehow I feel that the actual risks are going to be more death-defying in this match for some reason. I feel that this could almost be... I remember when these guys faced on pay-per-view before and it was like a TLC match they sort of did and Pentagon did the Canadian Destroyer or Matt Jackson that went through the table. You know exactly where I'm going with this. Are we going to see something as mental in a steel cage with these four?
Yes, we are. We're going to see a Canadian Destroyer off the top of the cage. We are most likely going to see something nuts like that because that's why these guys put themselves in this match. Like, they know each other so well. The Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros know each other so well. So yeah, they're probably right now as we're speaking, documenting how this match is going to be an absolute classic. I can't wait till I see the likes of Carl Anderson and Brandon Cutler trying to scale themselves into the ring, up the cage. I think this is going to be the right mix of, entertainment and just terrific wrestling. I'm really not sure who's going to come out as champion, though. I feel like it's the Lucha Bros time. The Young Bucks, this tag team run hasn't really set the world alight until they became the Super Elite. Before that, they weren't really doing much with it. But I do think that the Lucha Bros need a win here. A high-profile match. If they don't, I don't know what story could be told otherwise. And yeah, the Super Elite slowly losing all their titles could be something. So I'm going to stick my neck out and say the Lucha Bros.
I think you made a great shout there. Just to say, with the death-defying stuff they're probably mapping out right now, they clearly must have zero fear. That's clearly got to be the case, doesn't it? But yeah, I mean, swear down, like you said there, the idea of the Young Bucks losing those championships earlier in the night puts more pressure on Kenny, doesn't it? Now, the thing is, if you want to tell that story, Kenny's losing championships, the Young Bucks lose. It's like that sort of got left to protect is the AEW World Championship. It seems like a really risky prediction, but I feel the same as you. If the Lucha Bros don't win here, when are they going to win? They've won a tournament to get here. They beat the Jurassic Express in the final, which was an incredible match on Rampage, by the way. I fucking loved that match. Obviously, we had Private Party and the other team that was involved in there. It's going to slip my mind at the second there that was involved in this tournament. It was the Varsity Blondes, of course. Pillman and Griff Garrison, they were involved there as well. They were the ones that lost to Lucha Bros on the opening match they had there. But like I said, they've beat the best teams to get here. It comes to a point where, like you say, how can you keep believing in this stuff if we're not going to see the champions actually lose the belt? So I'm going to make the same gamble as here. Yeah. I think Lucha Bros win it. I think it's going to be a good mix of entertainment, death-defying stunts, and we could be looking at a match of the night contender here without a doubt.
100%. It's going to be very, very entertaining. Um, the whole point of the cage is to keep the super elite out. Yet we're going to see them all, like I say, scratching, trying to get into the ring and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, and we're going to see some amazing feats of athleticism from the likes of Nick Jackson, from the likes of Ray Phoenix. Penta is just going to be on his usual crud, trying to kill somebody in the ring with some kind of stunt. And Matt Jackson will probably be selling his back for the entire match as he usually does. So, yeah, I can't wait for this match. Honestly, I think it's going to be great.
It's been going on for years, but I love every time Matt Jackson sells that back, whether it was a Wrestle Kingdom show, a Ring of Honor show, AEW, I don't care. I love that he still sells that back to this day. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, let's go to the comment section, shall we? And let's see what people got to say. But we're going to strictly just stick with the AEW comments because I've seen a couple of WWE ones have come in, but of course it's an AEW predictions video, so we're going to stick things all AEW here. If you don't mind on this particular one, there's other videos you'll definitely be able to interact with WWE stuff, including the live Q&A back tomorrow. But Matthew Pace says that these matches here are all going to be 4 stars plus. I have to agree, a lot of them seem like mega matches there. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring to the table on the night. Best in the World 1989, Phoenix dangling from the cage from his mask and him bleeding out, and then we get Pentagon go dark and kill the Young Bucks. I mean, to be fair, fantasy booking at its best there, isn't it?
Yeah, it literally. But you know what? This doesn't sound like far from something that could happen. It doesn't sound too far-fetched because of the guys involved.
Yeah, they'll find a way to make it work. That's the thing that's so magical about it as well there. And Matthew Bass, I want to say Hurricane Runner from the top of the cage. Goodness, the person landing on their stomach. That sounds dangerous as hell. But do you know what? Just as well could happen. We've seen crazy stunts before from these guys. WrestleTron, this match is going to be a bloody war. The Bucks are doing great as a heel. Title change dependent on the Dynamite match. If FTR wins, Lucha Bros win. If Proud and Powerful wins, then the Bucks retain. Interesting philosophy. Doesn't really match up with the things, but
I think they're thinking of the New York match, the New York Stadium match later in September, where maybe they think Proud and Powerful will get a try at the Tag Team Championships in New York.
Interesting.
That's where they're from.
Yeah, if that's the scenario, I think that's a great shout from WrestleTron there. If that's the scenario, we have to see how it's going to play out. But certainly, it just finds loads of different dynamics in it all the time. And people seem to be forgetting that the first promotion video for the show, it had the line, when champions are crowned, which means to me, for sure, titles are changing hands. It's a great point that it's been made by Matthew. We'll have to wait and see if it is or isn't. But if it ain't Lucha Bros winning, Kingston is, in his opinion. Well, we're going to be coming to Eddie Kingston very shortly. So that's going to be interesting. And we've got Ryan Lovett also backs up the idea that Santana Ortiz could beat them at Arthur. What's that? Arthur Ashe, is it?
Yeah.
Arthur Ashe, yeah. So, that's it's a very good points then. To be honest, I was not aware of that. So, it'll be interesting if that does happen. And if not here, the Bucks will drop these at Dynamite Grand Slam. And it would be quite awesome if that is going to go down. And we'll go through the last couple of comments. Christopher's given his shout as well. The steel cage match is going to be awesome. I've got Finn the Young Bucks are going to retain the Tag Team Championships. And Phoenix as well will go for that Rey Mysterio spot from SmackDown, if you remember. Yes, back in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, where he debuted. But interesting stuff. And as well, just got one more shouting because we're going to go into that match next. Anyway, Miro isn't losing this title for a long time. Sorry for any Mad King fans. Well, I'll tell you what, that's your fault. Best in the World 1989. Let's get our thoughts on it because let's talk about then the best in the world. Well, is what he said there. But is Miro the best in the world? He's certainly going to be God's champion anyway, the TNT champion against Eddie Kingston there. I'm looking forward to this match. The story with it is a bit last minute thrown together. I understand with the Fuego del Sol thing, the fact that he got a contract anyway, kind of the same way Eddie Kingston came through the door. It's a fun little twist. I'll give it that. But what I would try and say is just like we said there, as almost went to say it too quickly, best of the world said there, Miro ain't losing this belt anytime soon. I feel that Miro is retaining it all day long.
Right. So I've got a little theory of something I read, right? So when Miro changed this TNT title to this kind of Bulgaria one that he's got right now, I have seen something online and I'm kicking myself every day that I never saved it. The side plates of this title is like some building in Bulgaria. Now it's like maybe some type of folk story or whatever. Someone has basically said that this building represents or maybe opportunity or something like that, right? And you get like 8 opportunities with this building, or whatever the case is, whatever the story is.
Okay.
Now, if I'm correct, Miro has defended this belt 7 or 8 times now.
Okay.
Meaning that maybe on the next time, which will be this Kingston match, he drops the title. I'm sure with all the nuggets AEW like dropping, that thing on the side plate wouldn't be there for no reason if they knew what it represented, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So I know there's been a lot of talk of, you know, Kingston winning this at Arthur Ashe in New York in front of a hometown crowd. That will be later on in September. There is a part of me that thinks, again, you know, champions are crowned. We heard that not too long ago. There could be a shock win here. If Kingston won on Sunday night, no one's gonna be angry. I don't think anyone would be angry, but it would be a complete surprise. I'm gonna go with Kingston just to be a rebel, and because of the little Bulgarian story theory. We'll see if it plays out, and then maybe he can get our big homecoming, you know, or a big title defense in New York instead. But I do believe some titles, or one title at least, is going to change in this card, and I'm not opposed to a shock victory for Kingston. So yeah,
I love the story. I love the Bulgarian story. It's something I was completely unaware about. It's something, like you said, they know what they're doing with these little antidotes that they like to do. AEW, you wouldn't say it was out of the question to happening. So I love it, but it goes completely against my prediction. So I will stick with Miro, and my reasoning for it as well. We know he's God's favorite champion, and he keeps making reference to his double jointed wife. I think that CJ Perry is going to debut as his manager. And of course, that's Lana, for anyone that's not aware, will be coming to debut as his manager in AEW. So I think that will give him the strength and the push to be victorious here. And I think, like you say, he will lose that championship further down the line. But I think if she's the debut here as his manager, I don't think that he would want to, let's say, not perform well on the evening. So, yeah, I feel that Miro will retain for that reason.
If she does debut, I'm flipping my prediction straight away. Yeah, he's winning. Yeah. But yeah. Otherwise, yeah, let's see.
I would, if she does debut, I would love to see if continue those style of promos with her just next to him, just because the stuff he's saying is outrageous from week to week. So
brilliant. Like I think maybe about 2 weeks ago, he said something like, during the day I please God, and during the night I please my wife.
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's so good.
He wanted to get this over when he was in the previous company. Why they never let him run around with it? Because Rusev Day and all this sort of stuff got over, and it's very subtle the way it's done as well. It could be done in a PG manner. The fact he's allowed to just let loose and be himself here. I mean, literally, thank God he moved over the best man stuff and he's gone to this, because I tell you what, he's been on fire for the last sort of 6 months. I've loved it, literally. But let's go to the comment section, shall we? Because we've got quite a few in here, and Matthew Pace says that Miro Kingston is going to be really good. 2 hard-hitting guys going at it. Have to agree there. And Best in the West says, don't get me wrong, they're going to bring it, but I don't want to see Miro lose on the run he's on at the moment. Totally understand that, and I agree. It would be if he is to lose it, I want it where it is a big, meaningful one. And like you say, Kingston there, it would be a great shock. But you mentioned there, Mekz, the idea of it being in New York in his hometown. That would be a lot more meaningful, wouldn't it? Even with that shock victory.
Yeah, I do think so as well. But I don't know if they're ever going to move away from giving people not necessarily a win. You can give someone a win in front of their hometown, but it becomes very predictable, doesn't it? So yeah, that's why I think maybe he wins here and has maybe a big defense in New York, sort of thing, rather than winning it in New York. But we'll see what happens.
We'll have to wait and see here. And Ryan Lowe says that Kingston won't win here, but hopefully Miro can forgive him. Hopefully he can do. And he says that, Mekz, you have a point there, my friend. I was talking about this the other week. My mate said it's going to be a shock win for Eddie. So, yeah, it must be with the Bulgaria story. I absolutely loved it. I'm very thankful you shared it with us here today. And fingers crossed, we'll see what's going to go down here. And we still have quite a few comments to go through. Christopher here as well, saying that Miro is going to retain. I feel that Kip Sabian could be the one to take the title off of him. Interesting theory. Kip must be coming back soon. It feels like with the Penelope Ford thing, surely he'll be with Big Money Matt when he comes back.
I am not trying to see Kip Sabian take this title from Miro. No way. No way. Please no. Let's move on. I don't want to see that.
I think you'd rather watch Raw than see Kip Sabian win that championship.
Yeah,
That's where we're
very
going with
true.
it.
Yeah.
Matthew Pace, Lana coming in after Miro loses the title, getting back on track makes more sense to me. That's fair play. I like that. Also, Miro is hilarious. We've got there, and Miro's fantastic right now. When they brought him in with the video game, it was very dumb. Yeah, well, we're so pleased we've seen him go to where he's gone now. But we're going to go on into the next match. And the next two matches, I really wanted to be rapid fire. So we're not going to go as much in detail because I don't think there's so much to go in detail here. We're going to start off then with Jon Moxley against Satoshi Kojima, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling legend. This is sort of the Forbidden Door stuff going on. Jon Moxley, of course, recently lost the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship to Lance Archer. Then that title was dropped from Archer to Tanahashi, and Moxley's always wanted to face Tanahashi, said that he's been ducking him. We've not got that match here at All Out. It feels like he's building to it. Kojima has been doing some work in Impact Wrestling recently, so he's been a part of this Forbidden Door stuff. He's a great legend, but for me, this match doesn't overly excite me. It probably will be fine on pay-per-view, just like it was with the Dynamite showing with Yuji Nagata a few months ago, but surely Jon Moxley's winning this.
Surely Jon Moxley's gonna win this. Like you said, it's not very exciting. When we all thought Tanahashi was gonna be the match, and then New Japan scheduled Tanahashi for a match on Saturday. So obviously he can't come back to America for the Sunday. It's just like, huh? Like, aren't you guys talking to each other when you're doing all of this? And now I think Kota Ibushi's ill, so I'm not even sure if that match is going ahead. It is you know, a very kind of second-rate replacement for Tanahashi that we thought we were gonna get. But yeah, Kojima would be fine. Moxley should win, and they can move on to something else with Moxley afterwards.
Absolutely. As it seems that so many matches, quite a long pay-per-view. I imagine this will be probably one of the shorter matches on the show. But then saying that, probably unfair for Kojima, has probably travelled so far to get there. So at least give him a bit of a 10-minute match at least. But we'll go straight to the comments. And Matthew Pace says that Kojima is still good and the match will be good. It's a major letdown after Tanahashi versus Moxley rumours. Exactly. Would have loved to have seen that much more. Of course, Kojima can still go, but I just think there's no believability factor that actually, you know, Moxley's going to lose this match. So I think that's what takes the draw away from me.
Yeah, there's no doubt in anyone's mind. Like, and to be honest, if Kojima wins, what happens next? You see what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
there's just nothing to kind of. This is literally just an exhibition match on an AEW pay-per-view, and I don't believe that the AEW, one of their top guys, is going to lose to Kojima.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do agree with that. We've got the Good Brothers and Moxley versus Callahan. Will continue the Elite storyline on that going. We'll have to wait and see if that will go down. I know that a lot of them have been involved with the Resurgence New Japan stuff going on quite recently. Chris was saying that Jon Moxley is winning, and Matthew reckons a lot of the matches are predictable on the show, as sometimes can be the case, but we do get surprises as well. We'll have to wait and see. But one match that I do think will be quite predictable as well, which is why we're going to rapid fire through this one, is Paul Wight returning to the ring, going against QT Marshall. Will be with the Factory as well. I do like that Paul Wight has actually made the protection for Tony Schiavone after the Dark Elevation pairing, also for his son. But look, I'm going to be honest here. It's nice to see Paul Wight. I'm happy to see him back in the ring. I know a lot of people are not probably as happy to see him in the ring, but this match probably would struggle to get on Dark or even on Dynamite. It feels like this would be the quick match on Rampage. Has this been misplaced this year?
Yes, this shouldn't be here. At best, this should be like a Rampage Dynamite main event at best. Like, you guys don't even give QT Marshall an entrance on Dynamite. How has he made it to pay-per-view? The Factory absolutely suck. I'm sorry. Just as a brand new faction, like, you debuted, and yes, Ogogo was the front man. Ogogo's out injured. He's in England right now. But they suck. They don't win. They don't get entrances. Like, they're just, you know, they're a lower card faction, really and truly, that have somehow their leader has made it to pay-per-view. And again, you know, that's me talking on that side of things. You talked about Paul Wight. I'm not particularly interested in a Paul Wight match at this stage of his career. This probably won't last very long. I hope it doesn't. And Paul Wight gets a win in AEW, returns to the commentary desk, and QT Marshall goes to find someone else to antagonize and lose to. That's really what's going to happen here.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, sounds about right. And I've been asked, will this be the toilet break? Most probably. The fact you guys have stayed here for this video while we've discussed it means that, we're very grateful you stuck around. But now what I will say very quickly is that, it's fun for nostalgia. Maybe it's to get Paul Wight back in the ring, a match to get there. Maybe they want to build up him versus Shaq somewhere later down the line. Maybe that could be the idea. And they're just, perhaps QT Marshall, someone they have a quick match with and, squash him. But of course, as well, we had to bear seeing Paul Wight's bare ass on TV as well, which has probably not been a sight for pleasant eyes either. But should we go to the comments?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Matthew Pace says, shorter the match, the better. Feels like people are not really feeling this one. Matthew Pace was saying, knockout punch, sorry. And QT Marshall and the Factory are the most annoying wrestlers in the company, in my opinion, and have no time for any of them. Well, they're probably doing the job well if you've got no time for any of them, but maybe the company should give them more wins so that you would at least see them as credible. That's probably... Better.
And I think I read over the weekend that Camarado has just got injured. So I think they're probably just down to QT Marshall and Aaron Solo right now. So it's not going well for them.
No, and that's the thing. When you got your two strongest members not around, that's not a good sign. And this beats it best in the world. Was disappointed with Moxley and Kojima. I would have gone with the Good Brothers, and that's right. That's what you're referring to. Would have gone for that in placement of that. I mean that makes total sense there. I mean Callahan hasn't appeared yet in AEW. I'd like to see that in the Forbidden Door at some point. Would you as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. One of the top guys over at Impact. But this would be them kind of continuing an Impact story. Although, yes, it's linked to the Elite, an Impact story on AEW, and they haven't cared for Impact in this relationship that they have at all, really. So it'll be hard to see that happening, but it looks like a good match on paper.
Certainly. Matthew Bates as well. Does Shaq come out after Paul Wight wins? I'm not so sure on this particular occasion, but certainly would be a way to make a noise about it. But I think that they would probably go for that for weekly TV, wouldn't they, to make the hype for Dynamite?
Yeah, it could be just coming out, maybe not a challenge, just a stare down, just to see, let him know I'm watching you. I know you've arrived, sort of thing. Like you said, there's supposed to be quite a few surprises on this show, so maybe this could be one of them.
Maybe indeed. Their last comment before we move on then. And Paul Wight is going to knock out QT Marshall. So, sorry, QT. It's not looking good for you, my friend. Hey, it seems to be all round. But let's go for a match that I think is probably a little bit less predictable. Maybe some people may feel differently. But it is the one here, the final fight. If Chris Jericho loses, he will never wrestle again. Well, Jericho said in AEW, everyone else is saying again. But it's MJF against Chris Jericho, which, it will be very interesting to see. We've had, of course, the 5 labors of Jericho, which has been quite fun to watch through. Chris Jericho got all the way to number 5 and, of course, then lost to MJF. And, of course, now to get this match, he's not been able to beat MJF. But to do it this time, he has to put his career pretty much on the line. Now, one thing I will say credit to AEW, this has been going on for around about a year, this storyline between these two. And they've managed to keep it. It's been twists and turns and interesting, but it is at the point now where this needs to end. So it's good that it's the final fight.
That's exactly it. It does need to end. I think everyone's a bit tired. These two are great on the mic. Everything they do without the matches attached, I would say everyone's into. And then I think the match just kind of sucks the air out of the building because the matches that they've put on, not to say they're rubbish, it's just they're just not as good as everything that's happened before. Remember, we've had the whole dinner thing that they done, the whole song and dance, the dinner debonair. We've had MJF joining the inner circle, leaving the inner circle. So there's so much that has gone on, like you said. Really and truly, in my opinion, I think that the labors started off as a good idea. It peaked too early with the Nick Gage death match, in my opinion. That should have been left as one of the last labors. The fact that MJF was the 5th labor and now there's another match at All Out doesn't sit well with me. Why wasn't the 5th labor or MJF just kept for the pay-per-view match? The 5th labor didn't need to happen as soon as it did. I think that's probably just making us all maybe just grow a bit tired with this feud because it's just a bit too much every week now with these guys. Is Chris Jericho going to retire here? I don't think so. I think this is where he finally gets his win. But at the same time, I think MJF has only lost once in AEW in a singles match. Is Chris Jericho gonna be the guy to... And that wasn't even clean, to be honest. So is Chris Jericho going to be the guy to kind of soil his record? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because I'm sure Chris Jericho would want to put over MJF. But I can't see this being Jericho's last match, and for that reason, I'll go with Jericho for the win.
Well, I mean, of course, Chris Jericho is used to using underhanded tactics to win as well in matches. So, of course, that could be a way of making it clean, or not a clean way of doing it, but protects MJF as well in defeat. MJF, you're right, did lose one singles match in AEW, and that was at All Out last year to John Moxley. So could All Out be the place where his luck usually runs out? Would be an interesting theory. They've always protected him for a good year. And as well, what I like about this also is that Chris Jericho has started doing more and more commentary. So you start to believe, well, is he going to transition to the commentary table? That's where he said he'll go. He will spend his time in Rampage. There has been rumors swirling about Jim Ross over the weekend from Ringside News, which, of course, Jim Ross has said is basically news to him as well, that he would be transitioned out of commentary. Would Chris Jericho go in, be like more the Bobby Heenan style going forward? Because we know Shivani could carry it going forward as the play-by-play. But there's lots of different dynamics here. And just to say one other stipulation that's always stuck, which makes these things seem legitimate, Cody Rhodes has not gone back for the AEW World Championship since losing that match of Full Gear a couple of years ago. And of course, the two other people that were involved around that at the time it was being done was MJF and Chris Jericho. So there's a lot of dynamics that play into this really, really well. And like you said, I just can't see Chris Jericho quitting yet. The thing is, there are people coming in that makes him feel like he's not got to carry the company on his shoulders. He's got CM Punk that's here now. Bryan Danielson, we know, is coming in. We know, we're not even talked about. Malachi Black's not even on this card, but there's those guys coming in. It could be Bray Wyatt, could be coming in as well later on. So there could be that less pressure of Chris Jericho having to perform on a full-time basis. Maybe he goes away, he comes back, or all sorts like that. But I feel Chris Jericho would just want to have one or a couple more matches with these people. We've had the 30 years of Jericho. I think there's still a little bit more left in the tank for Jericho. And I feel, and I probably AEW fans will not like me saying this, but I do wonder if his last match will be in AEW. So I don't think it will be done here. I think he's going to win this match. I think he'll carry on for a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely winding down. He definitely needs to wind down. He's done so much in his time. He's been so good, so entertaining. I just don't believe that this is it. Like, whatever his last match will be, it will be built up. If it was going to be on AEW, it would probably main event whatever show it's on. It would be a big song and dance and a big deal. I just don't think this is it. Like you said, maybe All Out is going to be the place where it's going to be like his bogey pay-per-view almost for MJF. And them with their nuggets, they will make that a thing. MJF has never won at All Out until the day he wins the world title there. So, this isn't Jericho's swan song at all.
No. So we're going for Jericho there. Let's see what the comments have got to say. And I'm very interested to see what people are going to go with. We've got MJF versus Jericho. It should be no DQ. Why it isn't is baffling to me. Interesting philosophy. I mean, I've had singles matches previously. The only thing I would say with the you mentioned this early, Mekz, actually, with the 5 labors of Jericho, the 5th one. Yeah. Should they have done? I mean, of course, we will never be critical of that. We got to hear Judas sung by the crowd without no music. That was an epic Dynamite moment I'll remember in the history of time. But should that have been saved for the pay-per-view, no Judas effect, and perhaps no DQ, and the idea as well that Jericho's career was on the line? Did MJF kind of drop the ball in that 5th labor, and this is what they should have gone with?
Well, this is what I mean. I think with this labors thing, maybe they wanted it to end earlier, but then I don't know. Then they realized Chris Jericho wasn't going to be on the card, so they had to do something to get him there. Like, it's very weird how they organize the matches. You would think they would build to a chairs match and a death match final, as the last couple of labors, rather than how it was all organized. So it was been a bit of a mess. But I really do agree with Matthew's comment, that previous one. I've been calling for this. If they're gonna do this one more time at the pay-per-view, there needs to be something. It needs to be a no disqualification match or something to make this match really, feel like something is on the line here. And I feel they've obviously got Dynamite on Wednesday to up the ante, as you like.
Yeah, well, we have done this before. We've got a Dynamite Rampage to go. Like I said, there's still time for things to change. So, Matthew, maybe you might just get your wish. And Christopher says, Judas in my mind, Chris Jericho will finally get a win over MJF. Best in words, I think, disagrees here, though, says MJF. Jericho passes a torch to Maxwell, but why isn't it a no DQ? It feels that's everyone's feeling here, that it should have been that stipulation, like you said there, Mekz. 5th labor should have been Richard Holiday or Hammerstone, as MJF was part of them in MLW. That'd have been a fun way to open a forbidden door in its own way as well. I like that suggestion. A lot of fun there. And Matthew Pace, obviously possible they make it an ODQ match tomorrow on Dynamite, which is very, very true. And we've just got here as well, Black should be on All Out against Dusty Rhodes to follow the Cody storyline. Maybe as a buy-in match, maybe I would have bought that. I don't know. Same thing with Dustin Rhodes. I mean, it would have been a quick, non-believable match, but could have been fun as well. I mean, as Malachi Black would have won easily, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I would have put Paul White's match on the buy-in and put this on the main card. Black versus Dustin Rhodes. Yeah.
That sounds a lot of sense there indeed there. So that's what the comments have had to say. That's what we've had to say. Let's go then to our next match. And we've got 3 matches to go. Let's talk about the AEW Women's World Championship. We've said who we think that a world contender will be, but who's going to be the champion? It's Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. against Kris Statlander. And of course, Rebel, not Reba, or Reba, not Rebel. Changes week on week. Will probably be in the corner as well. But maybe Jamie Hayter, who returned to the company. Of course, she's now seems to be almost the bodyguard or watching Britt Baker's back as well. Interesting dynamic with that because, of course, Britt Baker was in Britsburg, was over like a massive babyface, proper tweener role. It kind of didn't really fit the dynamic when Jamie Hayter came in. I felt really sorry for her because she's a very incredible, talented performer. And I look forward to see what she's going to do back now in AEW. But Kris Statlander, of course, did the face-to-face, which has led to this moment here that we've got this match. She's been winning matches probably on shows I've not been watching, which is probably Dark and Dark Elevation, and to get herself in this position. But look, I think that we're not looking any further here. Dr. Britt Baker, yes, she's won the belt at Double or Nothing. It's too soon for the drop championship. I think it's going to be a good match between the two of them. But yeah, I see Britt Baker all day long.
Yeah, Britt Baker's going to retain here. Hayter's going to play a big part in making sure that happens. I think Statlander, yeah, like you said, she's come out of nowhere to basically, get this match. But again, I can't speak too much on it because I'm not watching Dark and Dark Elevation. So she might have been putting in the work over there, probably has been. But yeah, she's a great talent. It's good to see her back. Obviously, she's been laid off injury for a long time. But the Britt Baker train has only just left the station. Anyone that's meeting her between now and Full Gear for sure is not winning. So Full Gear is obviously in November. That's the next stop, and by then she would have been champion for what? Maybe when did she win it? At Revolution?
She won it at Double or Nothing, so it would have been end of May. So if we're talking start of November, that's nearly a 6-month reign. So that would feel an appropriate time for AEW standards.
Yeah, definitely. And, I do want her to really sink her teeth into a feud. Hence why, earlier on we'll talk about Thunder Rosa. I think that's where she shines best. We saw a feud with her and Thunder Rosa. We saw a feud with her and Big Swole. The stuff with Nyla Rose every now and again has been all right. Chasing down Shida as well. That's just when Britt Baker's at her best, when she has something to really sink her teeth into. These little one and dones, they don't really do much for me because, again, like we've been saying, we just don't believe it's gonna happen. But yeah, Jamie Hayter to really make her presence felt here and Britt Baker to retain.
Absolutely. And we've got a comment that says, don't be a hater when you watch Jamie Hayter. We wouldn't be. We wouldn't dare be. But what I would say is, do you think that maybe that could be a long-time storyline of actually turning Britt Baker to a full-on babyface of the kind of rebel babyface style when it could be, Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter somewhere further down the line?
Maybe, because they're going to play into the fact that I think Hayter, her first match in AEW was against Britt Baker. So again, for sure, they're probably going to play into that some way, somehow. Britt Baker, they're having a hard job as it is right now to not treat her as a babyface. I think the only heel thing that she does these days is walk through the heel tunnel when she's coming out to the ring. So yeah, they've got a job on their hands because she's just loved by so many. But yeah, she needs to get back to her dastardly ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's go to the comment section indeed there. And Matthew Pace, Baker versus Statlander is one of the most predictable matches on the card. Will be good, but no one believes Statlander is going to win. I think we could both really agree with that sentiment there. Britt Baker is winning because Dr. Britt Baker is women's division. It's her division, in Chris's words, and we have to agree with him right this second. Thunder Rosa winning Battle Royale versus Britt would be great further down the line. Of course, at Arthur Ashe, I think that seems like a good idea indeed. And we've also got Matthew asking why Shida disappeared off Dynamite to do the title, and they need to do a better job. Seems to happen quite often. And Ty Conti hasn't appeared on Dynamite for months either. I mean, apart from that sort of mini backstage thing to actually build up the Rampage match this past week, I would have to agree with that. It's not good that some of the women are not getting TV time, but hopefully AEW have got better at building women's storylines than what they were at the start with the company. So hopefully they continue things in the right direction. I think they definitely build some fun storylines going forward with this Battle Royale and the winner here. But I think we both can move on because we both think the Doctor's winning here, surely.
Yep, definitely.
Let's go for it then. Well, let's go for match 9 then, which we're going to go from one championship to another. Let's talk about the AEW World Championship. Kenny, by God Omega with Don Callis against Christian Cage, the Impact World Champion, who's missing a championship on that graphic. They're not showing it. It's like they've forgotten it happened already on Rampage. But the first ever Rampage, Christian Cage obviously won the championship against Kenny Omega. This was a big, shocking match to do at the time because if Christian Cage couldn't afford to lose, really, built into this all-out match. They did a good job, though, in protecting Kenny Omega because of the steel chair element that was involved there of how Kenny dropped the championship. And now the doubt is there. Christian Cage is living rent-free in Kenny Omega's head. If we predict like we did earlier, the Young Bucks lose those tag team championships, surely Kenny Omega is going to be paranoid going into this of how it's going to play out. Mekz, I need your thoughts on the match if you're excited. And feel free to give a prediction as well while you're at it.
So this match, it doesn't excite me too much because, again, I think we know what the outcome's going to be. Yeah. Kenny Omega recently dropped the Impact Championship to Christian in what was a really good match. I wasn't caring for that match at all, even though, again, we probably knew what the outcome was going to be. But the match, the finish, I thought was really, really well done. And by the end of it, I thought, this is me, coming from me, that I'm not really a Christian fan like that. I said, well done. I feel good for Christian, it was a nice kind of fuzzy feeling inside. But yeah, this is just now, we know what's going to happen. There's no way Kenny Omega is dropping his AEW title and Christian becomes a double champion. I think we're going to get a good match like we did for Rampage. But yeah, even after that Rampage match, Christian said, he said something along the lines that he's become Impact champion, but he knows to overcome Kenny Omega for the AEW championship is going to be a whole nother ballpark, almost conceding defeat straight after beating Kenny Omega. So there's no way this is going to happen. Shenanigans may try to run from both sides. He's been backed by Jurassic Express, by Frankie Kazarian and stuff. Kenny Omega is walking out as AEW world champion. That nothing can change here. If it does, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Probably miss out on a load of dream matches for the AEW World Championship. It feels that's what they must be going towards. Like you say, Christian's got the Impact World Championship. They can go and continue the Forbidden Door of Christian over there. I think the match itself is going to be fantastic between these two performers. And like Don Callis says, Christian, you're finally going to get that 5-star, match, pal. You got it. That's coming in the bag. I think these two will do a heck of a match, heck of a job. But like you say, the match, they'll do some good near spots. They may even do a similar spot towards that Rampage match to make you believe maybe there's a chance of a switch. But Omega's retaining here. Like you say, there's enough people watching Kenny's back. If all the other gold goes as we predicted, they'll make sure that Kenny keeps hold of this one for at least the time being. And then the big question leads to Bryan Danielson. Is this the right part for him to come out at this point, confront Kenny Omega? And we know we've got this dream match for the AEW World Championship going forward that could be at the in-between anniversary show, perhaps, or would it be at Full Gear? There's certainly lots of potentials there. Is this the right place for Bryan Danielson to make that debut spot?
I mean, AEW have made a thing about not basically shooting anybody to the top, bringing in anyone. And unless they at least win, one of the battle royales or one of the ladder matches or something, there's no real precedence for someone coming in and getting a title shot straight away. So that would be going against what they've kind of led us to believe over the past couple of years. So I'll think no for that reason. But Bryan Danielson coming in at this point to even just, pretty much what Christian did. He came in and said he wanted to go over the AEW Championship, but it's been a slow road before he's got there. To almost just kind of make Kenny Omega think that, whoa, okay, I've made it over this guy in Christian. There's no one else. Because remember, that was his thing before Christian came out. There's no one else here to face, sort of thing. He was almost going to take some long hiatus because there's no one to defend this belt against. I'm going to go off to Mexico, defend my belt over there, go to Impact, defend my belt over there. So yeah, this could almost be Bryan Danielson teasing him like another guy has just arrived sort of thing. And then, you know, Bryan does his build before he actually gets to Omega. But yeah, I think this is as good as a place as any for him to debut. One question for yourself, though.
Go for it.
I mean, do you think the title should still be... I know you've got CM Punk in the main event here today, but do you think the title should still main event, especially if it looks like Bryan Danielson's going to come out afterwards? Or do you think the CM Punk match should be the main event of this particular card?
It's a very good question. If Bryan Danielson shows up, and I mean, a championship should main event, that's the point of the championship. I think even CM Punk would probably say the same thing himself of the idea of it. So I think when they book this show, I think there is a chance that CM Punk could be the match before. If it is just simply Kenny versus Christian and nothing else, AEW have put that championship lower in the card before. They did the Full Gear unsanctioned match with Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley a number of years ago, and Cody and Jericho was not the main event. I believe as well, Stadium Stampede at Double or Nothing as well has main evented a couple of times both years, with the championship being the match before. So AEW are not a stranger to doing it. So I think that for that reason, I think that Kenny Omega, I'm going to predict will be the one before, because I think they want everyone to give everything for Punk. If you look at Rampage the other week, they put Punk on first because they knew they'd hijack the show, but they burnt out the show. Yeah. Everyone was just knackered afterwards. So I think people, they know, keep the reserves in. CM Punk, it's probably one of the big draws of this pay-per-view. Put it on last. So that's why I'm going to say Punk will go on last.
Fair enough.
Let's go to the comments section. It's going to be interesting to see what everyone's got to say here, because, well, quite a few of them have come flying in. Cage versus Omega was excellent on Rampage, and this will be even better. I predict it's going to be one of the Christian's best ever singles matches, with the ones up there with Orton back in 2011. Great suggestion. That's a very underrated feud, by the way. Best in the world, Omega retains. Countdown clock, Bryan Danielson debut, and the final countdown hits, and the crowd goes mental. That'd be an interesting theme song. I've seen in the rumor mill this week, though, that Daniel Bryan has the rights to play his WWE theme song that he had in AEW. He has those rights. I don't know if it's true. Don't know if it's false. But if that happened, that would be interesting to see how that would go down. But if not, the final countdown would be quite an interesting one to see, because I like the fact they're using these retro 80s and 90s songs. Definitely is a good little sing along, and it'll be interesting to see. But I can see that Bryan Danielson coming out after Kenny Omega wins. Christopher has also gone on to say his point of view here. Says that Kenny Omega is winning the match. Bryan Danielson debut after it. Separate match in New York or Full Gear. We've also got New York will be way too soon for Danielson getting the shot. Perhaps it would be, but I mean, the anniversary show as well was in October, so that's a big show in between also. But I agree with people if they're saying Full Gear. Full Gear has to be Hangman Page or Bus guys. Maybe that's a good point, though. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's Page's time, because that would be a year afterwards with Kenny Omega, the last time we lost the opportunity. Yep. So things go in symmetry. Love the shout there. That's definitely a good point made indeed there. And a match with Omega where he wins and gets a few title shots maybe makes more sense. I like that idea. That seems like a really fun idea. Do you like that, Mekz?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. We know Daniel Bryan, he's going to be here, there, and everywhere joining AEW. That was the whole point. So, yeah, to kind of put him in our minds or remind us that he is a contender could be a good way to, debut him and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And also said, in your mindset, always end the show with a match that will have the crowd at its hottest, and that's Punk versus Darby Allin. Well, there you go. Could be an interesting shout if that would be the case. And have your World Championship. Bryan Danielson is and a stare down. A forbidden door opens and steps in. The Kota Ibushi at the end of the year. Well, I mean, that would be awesome to see if we could get matches like Bryan versus Ibushi. Even Omega versus Ibushi would be pretty darn awesome. But we'll have to wait and see. But you think any chance Bryan comes out after Punk wins? Interesting question. I mean, those who have history before, but I imagine they want to work with younger talent, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't think that these two are going to butt heads at all for a while on AEW.
No, we'll have to wait and see how it will go down. And Bust in the World reckons that Punk versus Allen should start the show here. Out as the power gets pumped and we get Bryan and Omega stare down in the main event. Start big, finish big. I like the idea of it. I just hope the crowd can be remained as hyped. Yeah, we need the energy. We don't want to see like in those WrestleMania times where people get knackered halfway through. But we're going to go to the main event then because, Mekz has got a stream himself in about just under 20 minutes. So we need to make sure we can get him back onto his own channel. So we'll do the main event. I think it's going to be quite straightforward where people are going to go with this. But of course, first time in over 7 years, CM Punk versus Darby Allin with Sting in his corner. CM Punk is in AEW. CM Punk is back. He's back in wrestling. He's back in Chicago. The hometown crowd. Don't say it's the main event of this stream that we're doing today.
Getting goosebumps.
And literally, I mean, he said he wants to work with this great, amazing talent, and Darby Allin seemed to tick the list. He even put over Darby big, said, look, if I was 15 years old, Darby Allin would be my favorite wrestler. He's got, death-defying stuff that he does in the ring. Punk wants to work with the best. He wants to prove he can still hang with these guys and show he's the best in the world. It's in Chicago. Let's say goosebumps there. I'm feeling it as well. I mean, how special is this going to be?
It's just amazing. Oh, God, start talking. Feel goosebumps again. It's honestly, it's like I was never a massive Punk guy, but just seeing that, what we saw a couple of weeks ago when he debuted on a Rampage, it's amazing. Just how he felt, and this was someone that for me I always felt was just so miserable. I know WWE did him dirty a lot of the time, but he's just came across as such a miserable guy, and to see how happy he is in AEW, he's getting this second chance at what he loved basically. He's come here to definitely work and not just take a paycheck, work with the younger guys as well. Darby is, I know for myself, I talk for myself, Darby, someone that shocked me as a first competitor. I thought it might be someone else, maybe more high profile, if you like. But Darby, I think, definitely works because he is someone they are molding for one of those top positions in the future, if he's not there already. Darby is someone that the crowd absolutely loves. So they'll be hot for CM Punk, but they're definitely still going to be hot for Darby. And CM Punk, in my opinion, is going to win this match. That's my prediction. Darby can afford to take a loss to CM Punk, still be put over, still have no real blotch on his rankings or anything like that. This is a massive match for Darby's career. It's crazy. Your CM Punk's first match back after 7 years. Big accolade in itself. But yeah, I think CM Punk is going to take this one.
It's a trivia question for the future, isn't it, with Darby Allin there? And to be fair, like you say, Darby just being in this position, he's so over from doing it. He gets so much momentum, and he doesn't need the win. He just needs to put in a performance and just turn up. And, the guy's been put over big by CM Punk going into the match. I'm sure there'll be more words before we get to the pay-per-view. I imagine that this match is going to be decent. I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to bring to the table. Will we see the CM Punk, though, of 7 years ago? Or do you think that it would be slow and steady coming back in?
I mean, I wouldn't say that his style 7 years ago was anything particularly fast anyway. So he was very methodical in places. He did pull out some big stunts here and there. He's very good at what he does in between those ropes. Obviously, Darby is literally the other end of the spectrum. He's just literally prepared to kill himself to get a 3 count. So it's going to be very interesting how they put on this. It's going to be very interesting ring rust to see if CM Punk, if things kind of go smoothly at the pace they're gonna go, because like we said, Allin moves very, very fast when he's doing what he does. Is Punk prepared to take the coffin drop off the top rope or any of those kind of moves at his age? Because this isn't the guy that we were left with. This is someone 7 years on sort of thing. He's 42 years old now, so his career somewhat should be kind of winding down within the next few years as well. So this is going to be good, but he does look like he's in good shape and ready to go at it. He wouldn't have come back if he wasn't happy to give his all and able to give his all. So
I reckon he will give his all, and hopefully he'll put in a great performance. Stephen Amell has said that he's been training with him, and it's like Punk's never missed a step. So, like you say, it's that nice ring psychology CM Punk brings. It's not really this death-defying style like you mentioned there. So, CM Punk brings something to the table that's very different and very fun. And we've got, like you say, great matches with this younger talent. There's some dream matches that's in and amongst there with CM Punk as well. No doubt as well. CM Punk for the victory all day long here. And I think it's going to be a very special moment. It's almost enough in itself to just see this pay-per-view. So yeah, I think that it would be quite nice to see. But we'll go into the comments here, and let's have a look here very quickly. Matthew Pace has said here that he thinks that Punk is going to kill it. To be honest, he's really confident about it. He says that Punk looks in tremendous shape. Punk does look in good shape, to be fair. So it'd be interesting what he does bring to the table. Chicago crowd never takes the energy out of them. It's Chicago, second best wrestling town behind England's crowds. Well, thank you for mentioning England's crowds. But I mean, Chicago, they did look a little bit flat over the rest of Rampage. Maybe that was the rest of Rampage's card, though, on that particular day. We've not seen it with a pay-per-view. So yeah, Chicago is a very, very passionate fan base. So I imagine wherever this match is positioned, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. We've put it as the main event today. It'll be cool to see how it will go out. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see where it goes there. But that's all the comments that we've got in for that. So I think that's pretty much everything that we've got here. But one other question I'm going to ask you very quickly, just before we finish the stream off. Adam Cole, we've not mentioned him. Does he turn up? Does he not?
Man, this would be a brilliant place for him to turn up. Even you know what, I wouldn't even mind if they done something subtle, like he was in the crowd and after Britt Baker won, she just went and gave him a kiss and the crowd just and yeah, the crowd just exploded or something because Adam Cole's on camera on AEW. Like just something subtle to reintroduce. I don't know, but like yeah, this could be best place. But it sounds like he's still negotiating with WWE, or at least listening to offers, so that makes his AEW contract bigger. Who knows? But yeah, I think I saw something the other day actually that Adam Cole, when he does join, should actually come in as a friend of Hangman Page, which I thought could be very interesting because of obviously stuff they've done beforehand, Ring of Honor and stuff. So yeah, it'll be good to see Adam Cole here. God, there's so many possible surprises on this card.
It's almost to the point as well. You can just imagine commentary like he's alive, you know, with what they've been doing with the killing him off the elite stuff. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it could be interesting to see what they're going to do with it. I would hope it would happen. I mean, wherever Adam Cole is, I'm happy to see him on the TV screen. But if he does come to AEW, I really want to see him against CM Punk. I don't know, just that vibe of a dream match as well seems really cool. It keeps Punk away from the main event scene quite a while, and Adam Cole will just have that sort of idea as well of like, you know, this was supposed to be the big deal that you've come in. Actually, the big deal is that I'm here and I'm the one that's going to take you out and stuff like that. So there's natural stories you can do with it as well. So I'd be quite interested to see where it's going to go down. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you, everyone that's been in the comments section. Just before we go to the final parts of this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to say that there is a poll for the latest WrestleMania Rewind that goes, the winner will be announced tomorrow. So make sure to get involved in this. It's 5 underrated pay-per-views. You can see where the voting is now. Your vote can make the difference of which pay-per-view is reviewed. So go after this to the community section and go and get yourself a vote in. As I say, the winner will be announced tomorrow, and it's going to be announced on this live stream. That's right, it's back. SCW Live Q&A will be returning tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. UK time, which will be 4 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to come and join myself, and I will have a guest with me tomorrow evening. I'll be answering all your questions on all things in wrestling tomorrow. So that's, make sure to come and check out that. But Mekz, just before we go, tell everyone where they can go and find you in 10 minutes.
WrestleManiac UK on YouTube. We are doing our weekly Wrestle Extra show. This is the show where we concentrate particularly on Black wrestling, and we are talking about that Randy Rhodes tweet over the weekend where she kind of stressed that, you know, you guys ask for Black wrestlers to get an opportunity, but when they are given opportunity, you don't support them, which we all think is total nonsense. So we're going to be breaking that down, as well as we've put together a list of like a ranking system of our best Black wrestlers over the month of I don't even know what month we're in. August.
August,
over the month of August. So yeah, you guys can come and check that out. Really fun show that we do every week. And again, get involved in the comments.
I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic stream. One of my favorites to check out each and every week. So guys, girls, if you're watching, links in the description of this video right here, or just go in the search engine, type in WrestleManiac UK, and you can go and like the video, subscribe to his channel as well, because damn it, it's some good content on there. And yeah, you won't regret it, honestly. And last comment of the day here on this channel is Punk is going to feud with MJF next, I think, which I think would be a very fun feud, particularly on the stick. Those two would be amazing. But that's all from us anyway. I need Mekz to get to his channel so he's not late. Thank you for everyone that's been watching. Enjoy, AEW All Out this Sunday as well. And please leave your comments in the comments below of who you think the winners and losers are if you are watching on delay. But that's all from us anyway. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good one. You've been watching SCW, and it's been AEW All Out Match Card and Predictions 2021. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. All the best.